usually think about people like this, and we tend to think about scientists from ancient time and from other centuries. But as a matter of fact, this picture is not really correct. And I'm quoting again this author, Derek De Sola, who says that 90% of all the scientists that ever lived are alive today. Because you see all this exponential increase. You can say this from PhDs granted annually. You can do the same for publications. You can have this same picture for patents or whatever you want. As a matter of fact, the science, the volume of science is increasing dramatically. When you look at pictures of scientists, you typically find pictures like this that definitely should not be what most of us, at least, aim for. So what do you want to be? We want to be a good scientist, or we want to be a good doctor? And as Professor Mehmet was saying before, to be a good doctor, it's important to be a good person, but not all the good persons are good doctors. You have good examples from here, from like Professor Salman. He doesn't look as good as this lady, but okay, again, it's still there. But when you think about qualities of a good scientist, we think about curiosity, patience, perseverance, be open-minded, hard work, work with discipline, integrity. If you think about being a good doctor, basically you'll have the same. You need all of this to be a good doctor. And to be a good doctor, I will add to this commitment to what we are doing, I would add passion. That is very important in everything we do. And also, I would have the ability to work in a team, because we do not work alone. So you will never succeed if you are not able to build teams and to work together. And teams doesn't mean just surgeons or even doctors. You have to talk about other health professionals, other people in the hospital, and that's the only way to. And how does this apply to a neurosurgeon? Definitely, you must be curious. For instance, when you have a 55-year-old man with a cervical spondylotic myelopathy that you operate, that has a tetraparesis, and he gets to your consultation after the surgery, and the arms are better, the right leg is better, and the left leg is not better. And you can do a picture, and everything looks perfect, and you can just say that, okay, that's just because the neurons that go to the left leg are not as good as the other ones and didn't recover. Or you can ask for a dorsal MRI and look why this patient is not improving. So that means that you have to search more in each patient and to learn from each patient that you have. To be patient and perseverant, if you want to operate a tumor like this and remove it, all of the tumor, and have the patient walking in the postoperative after the surgery. You cannot do this quickly, rushing. You have to be patient, doing meticulously your work if you want to achieve a good result. Be open-minded to what you learn and what can be the input of other things. And sometimes you must be open-minded to think out of the box. For instance, if you have a scoliosis like this one with coronal and sagittal imbalance and a flat back, you can This was a 73-year-old man with just axial but severe axial pain, and you can choose to do nothing because the surgery is risky, or you can do a big surgery, or again you can think differently and say, why can't I do this minimal invasive? And you can have other options that sometimes you must be open-minded to think about them. You can do all of these minimal invasive and you can improve sagittal and the coronal balance of this curve. Hard work is something that we are used to when we have big surgeries and we have like a tumor like this one. This is the L1 chordoma. Thoracolumbar region is not easy to achieve. You can go anterior, you can go posteriorly. Again, you can even go minimally invasive again and remove all of this tumor and do an instrumentation. But you have to do it methodically through the surgery, and again, you cannot. You have to be prepared to work for a lot of hours in the OR, and you must have integrity to talk with your patient when the things, mainly when the things don't go well. And it's not saying that it's someone else's fault. Sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not. But you have to know how to deal with the things that don't go well. And even if you put screws like this one, curiously, which screw do you think is causing problems? Just this one. This one was no problem, not problem at all. This patient just had left leg pain. So if you want to put a bad screw, you put it really bad because no problem. And again, you really need to work in group because sometimes you don't have hands enough. You should be like a octopus. So if you are not an octopus, you should have other people that can help in the OR and in other things in your life and in your surgery. But if we said before that doctors are scientists and the qualities are alike, but when you look at data, doctors are not that good researchers as you would expect, and not a lot of doctors are really doing science and research, and there are a lot of reasons for that. One of that is time, because as Professor Zilali was talking, to do research and to publish, you need to acquire extra skills besides the skills that you need to operate and to be a neurosurgeon. And to achieve these skills, that takes you time, that takes you out of the clinics, out of the money that you get, and there is definitely an opportunity cost for all of that. And this is one of the reasons that takes surgeons around from this. Raise funding usually is not also a specialty of most of the doctors and the neurosurgeons, and a lot of other colleagues do this much better than we do. And a good option can be to work together and to have other people from biomedical sciences to work with you and to help with the parts of the research. They are more skilled than you. Also, there are all over the world more than 5,000 biomedical journals worldwide. There is more than one new article being published in every minute. And most of these articles, do you know which languages are published? Chinese. That's the most common biomedical language that is published in the world. And most of the papers published are not that good as they should be. Interestingly, also is this data that in the last decade, almost 800 papers have been retracted because they were fake, and most of them were coming from publications with a high impact factor because of the tendency also to be more famous or to publish the research. And every time you send a publication to a journal and the publisher is not accepted, you have basically two options. You can say what's wrong with me, or you can say what's wrong with the reviewers. And sometimes both things are also true. So for good research, I think probably Doug will come on this again, but the most important thing is to start defining what you are looking for. So you have to define your question. And most of the research that you see published, you don't see the research question. You don't see what the authors were looking for. So you have to think, what do I want to know? What do I want to research? And then I have to put the data, and I have to decide the methods. I have to collect correctly the data. And one important thing is when you publish something is that your conclusions must be supported by the data. And quite often this is not the case as well, because you see a publication, you see the results, and then you see the conclusion that has nothing to see with those results. That comes to bad research. And there are a lot of ways that the research that you can do is not that good. But also, to be a good scientist, that does not mean that you are a good teacher. And Professor Zileli was talking about this as well. There are special skills you have to learn can be a good teacher. And teaching is the art of sharing. Sharing is not spreading knowledge. Is an interactive process that every time you teach something, you learn from what you are teaching. And again, the qualities of a good teacher are there present in a lot of neurosurgeons. And in neurosurgery, in the OR particularly, there are two instruments that are very good for teaching. One of them is the microscope, because you have your assistant seeing precisely the same thing that you are seeing. And the other one that can help is navigation, because navigation can really to look on the other side, mainly when you are working on younger with younger colleagues, that you cannot open the patient like in the dissection room, and with the navigation you can teach what's behind what you're going to find on the right side and the left side above and below. And I give you as a final quote that I found about being a good teacher, that what you want to achieve as a teacher is that your students can learn to do the things. It's not just give them the knowledge. Is what you want is that they learn how to think and how to do and how to improve the things. And my final quote is that you can learn a lot of things if you listen not just your mentors but also your patients. And I would say if you look at what it's doing and you look at that curiously with curiosity and all of those qualities that I said before. And if you want to teach the best teacher that you are, the better your students will be in the future. And to get better, the purpose of teaching is not that your students are as good as you, but they can be better than you are. And that's the only thing that they can progress. The only way to progress is to be better than the ones that were before ourselves. Thank you very much. And I hope that is right with the Google Translator.